everyone. Welcome to our October Coffee with an Entrepreneur event featuring our guest speakers, entrepreneurs Lonnie and Mary Scott of Bobcat Properties Farms. So I can give them a round of applause. This event is in partnership with the Corona Chamber and the City of Corona. And before I get started, I'd like to ask everybody if they would rise and while so we can recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, your hat. Ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We're going to go into self-introductions right now, and part of our programs are at the Chamber to network, and we have a room full of different businesses here represented, and some of you might be brand new to our group, and others here are seasoned members. So when it's your turn, just please stand, share your name, your title, and which business that you're representing. I'll start. My name is Desiree Ramirez. I am the Vice President here at the Corona Chamber of Commerce, in charge of operations and also membership development.
Hi everyone, my name is Nathan Yanez. I'm the Communications Coordinator for the Corona Chamber of Commerce, and nice to see you all.
Good morning everybody, my name is Palpinda Padesha. I'm the local owner of Express Employment Professionals and on the Chamber Board. Hi, I'm new. My name is Mimosa Armini Lemi. I'm a business consultant and I do work with startups to mid-size, depending, business plans, project management, etc.
Good morning, my name is Rebecca Franson. I'm from Cal Auto Registration. I'm the owner. We do DMV renewal registration, live scan services, and good morning.
Good morning, I'm Ms. Ray Marsono. I own Signorama down on Lincoln. I make signs.
He's making me one right now.
And Ray, you're also an ambassador here with the Chamber?
Yes, I am an ambassador.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alejandra Escoto. Lovely people here. I'm the member engagement specialist at the Chamber. Hope to meet all of you a little bit more.
My name is Jill Nelson. I'm a financial advisor at Modern Women of America.
Good morning, I'm Kim Maybon, owner of Creative by Design, graphic, web, and print and promo. And I'm also the immediate past chairman of the board for the Chamber.
Hi, I'm Lori Alarcon from the Corona Art Association, and we are a nonprofit organization that gives low-cost art lessons to children and adults.
Carly, marketing manager for John's Movers. We do moving, storage, junk removal, and cleaning. Everything you need to get you there. And an ambassador at the Corona Chamber.
Good morning, Tiffany Neary. I own Active Lending Group here in town, and I do home loans and reverse mortgages, and I'm an ambassador for the Chamber.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Carrie Botana. I work with Bluntwell Services. We do financial planning for families, pre-retirees, and retirees.
Good morning, I'm Buzz Brown. I'm retired, but currently serving as a volunteer pastor at Bedford Community Church.
Oh, looky there. Hi, I'm Nikki Stokes. I'm with Tillamook Veterinary Clinic, and I'm not an ambassador, but I'm an ambassador in life. I run the clinic, and it's amazing. We're having a party on Saturday. Everybody should come, because I tasted all the tacos, and they're epic.
Morning, I'm Jim Clark. I'm with Grace S. Clark CPA.
Good morning. I'm Grace S. Clark with Grace S. Clark CPA. I am a CPA. Jim is my husband. He helps me run the practice. He's not a CPA. He's very proud to tell everybody that. So anyway, that's what I do. And I am the Chamber CPA.
I am Anthony Maldonado, the Programs Coordinator here at the Chamber.
Hi, good morning. Amanda Wicker. I'm at the City of Corona's Office of Economic Development.
gonna throw you right in there. Welcome. Big time.
Hello. I am Jay Grasso. I'm part of the Miliari Group, which is a financial services company.
And I'm Hunter White. I'm his husband, and I'm sorry, I'm his wife, and we work together in the same company.
Rebecca Spooner, Corona Foot and Ankle Office Manager, the Podiatry Office of the Best Podiatrist here in Corona, Dr. Artie Amin.
I am Robert Yanez, Membership Development Coordinator here at the Corona Chamber.
I'm gonna throw you into self-introduction. Sorry. No? Okay. Apologize for my lateness. Don't come or just be a few minutes.
I'm Christy with DFI, which is a personal and commercial lines insurance agency.
All right, welcome all of you. So now just a little bit of housekeeping and a little bit of self-promotion for the Chamber. The September-October edition of our Corona Business News we have here. We only have a few left. The November-December issue is currently being finalized. If you would like to advertise in that, there's a couple copies in the back. Please see Robert Yanez, our Membership Development Coordinator, or myself after the program, and we would be more than happy to help you with that. Our next one is our Advocacy and Action dinner that we're having on Thursday, October 20th. The Chamber is going to bring our business leaders, community leaders, and stakeholders together for its annual legislative fundraiser. Each year, our Chamber's outreach is focused on protecting jobs and working with policymakers, decision makers, and elected officials to grow and benefit our local business community. There is a QR code up here on the screen. Go ahead and scan that if you're interested and for more information. I see some scanners, so I'll wait. Oh, go back, Anthony, they're still scanning. Got it. All right, next on Friday, October 21st is our Good Morning Corona at Eagle Glen Golf Club, and we will be having, we are pleased to welcome our guest speaker, Congressman Ken Calvert. The Congressman will be joining us and giving a special congressional update as it relates to the Corona business community. As always, it's expected to be an excellent event, excellent networking opportunity. So if you have not purchased a seat yet for the event, go ahead and do so today online, or as your way out, we can help you. There are sponsorships still available and exhibitor tables, still a couple left, and we're good. So lastly, I am excited to announce our next Coffee with an Entrepreneur. Our December one will be the speakers of the founders of Happiest Hours. Ryan, Alana, and CJ started out with just an idea, and that idea grew into a mobile bartending service, which grew even further into Corona's newest wine and spirit shop. They are incredible entrepreneurs, and we are thrilled to have them here in December. So you can register online for that as well on our website.
They should have had mimosas here for us.
They should have. I don't know what they're, we're being spoiled today with honey. I don't know what Happiest Hours will bring on December. So I don't know. I can't promise anything. All right. Earlier I shared about this event being sponsored in partnership with the City of Corona. So it is my pleasure to welcome Amanda Wicker, the City of Corona's Economic Development Administrator. Amanda has a passion for our business community, and the Chamber and the City work side by side to help businesses succeed. I am honored that Amanda is here today and to share a few items of interest. Please all welcome Amanda.
Good morning, everyone. As Desiree said, my name is Amanda. I'm with the City of Corona's Office of Economic Development. And if you're not familiar, we are basically the city's kind of business liaison. We have a variety of business resources that we offer our community. And we also have really great partnerships, such as with our awesome Corona Chamber of Commerce. So we're so happy to be able to sponsor today's event. I did want to just let you know we do have an upcoming event that we'll be hosting, again, in partnership with our chamber on Monday, October 24th, 12 to 1 p.m. It's going to be a customer retention webinar, so it should be super informative, absolutely free to participate, and you can participate in the webinar from the comfort of your home or your office, wherever you can access Zoom. Just wanted to say thank you to Lonnie and Mary, I'm really excited to hear your story. I love this event. This is such a great event to get to hear just everybody's journey, just in general, but also I always find it really inspiring. So just want to say thank you so much for being here today and look forward to it.
All right, thank you so much, Amanda. So today's invited entrepreneurs are Lonnie and Mary Scott. They are the owners of Bobcat Properties Farm. Not only do they grow 5 different kinds of avocados and lots of citrus, but they are also beekeepers. They have won multiple awards for their different varieties of honey and have also expanded their product line with addition of soaps, lip balms, and skincare products. They have spent many years working hard in building their business, and we are so honored to have them joining us this morning to share their story. Please all help me welcome Lonnie and Mary Scott.
Is it okay just to sit?
Yeah, absolutely. Totally informal.
Well, hello everyone. This is kind of new and awkward for me, so I may be a little bit shy about this, but I just kind of wanted to share a little bit about the personal side of Lonnie and Mary. And we've been married for 42 years. We met back in 1977. And just a little story on how we met was I was 20 years old at the time and he was 17, just finishing his senior year in high school. And I happened to be in a car accident, and I had a cousin who would come and keep me company and entertained, and he happened to go to the same school as Lonnie. And so he invited me to their senior play. It was at Mater Dei. And but he had one of those little pickup trucks, but with the tall tires. And so I was in crutches with a cast all the way up my thigh on my leg and a scar on my face. And so he said, well, why don't I have my friend Lonnie Scott come and pick you up? Because I couldn't get into the truck. So that's how we met. And so one of the things that happened, he was just a nice guy, just the nicest guy that I think I have ever met, and genuine. And then anyway, so halfway through the play, it was intermission, and back in '77, I don't think they had much on handrails for going down flights of stairs. So here I am in my crutches, and I'm trying to go down these flight of stairs, and I totally fall, and I'm rolling like a sausage down the stairs. And so I tease Lonnie to this day, hence me running into that. I'm naturally clumsy, so Lonnie knew that about me the day he met me. Let's see, we both grew up in Orange County, and then in 1988 we moved to Corona, and we do have 2 kids. We have a son, Michael, and a daughter, Teresa, 40 and 41 years of age. We both decided before we got married, that we would wait 2 years to have kids. Well, both of our kids were born before our 2nd anniversary. So life is full of surprises, but it's beautiful. And so our daughter actually worked with the city of Corona for several years. Once she became 18 years old and was in college, and as she became an adult, she started with the Park and Rec, and then got into I think utilities, and then grants. And in the 2004-2005 year, she was Miss Corona, and she's one of those people that wants to work for a city, and she wants to live in the city. She wants to be a part of the community. So I'm super proud of her. She did eventually move to Scottsdale, Arizona, and that's where she met her husband and fell in love, and they have 5 kids now. And she moved back to California, and so now she's living in Newport. She's working with the city of Newport Beach, and
Public Works.
yes, in Public Works, she's a manager there, and she was able to find the very least expensive house in all of Newport Beach. So she is working in Newport and living in Newport. So, you know, all things are possible. That's just kind of one of the things I wanted to share about that. And then our son went off to Purdue. He got an electrical engineer degree, multiple degrees, studied a year in Spain, and then he got a job with Boeing. And so he's been working with Boeing for about 6-7 years and loved it. Shooting star. Came home one day and said, I'd rather save souls. So he left the corporate world and is now discerning to be a priest. So in 2 to 3 years, he should be ordained a priest. Right now he's in Italy doing some more studying and everything. He's fluent in Spanish and now probably will be fluent in Italian. So that's a little bit about our family. And then I worked for the AAA for 35 years. I started with the AAA in 77 also, and I told myself as a young 20-year-old, I'm going to work with the AAA for 25 years, and then I'm going to go work for the post office. I don't know why I said that, but that was my goal. And then when those 25 years came up, I was a little older and realized, well, there's such a thing as pension. So I think I'll just stay with the AAA. So I never did go to the post office. But I did retire 10 years ago from the post office, or from AAA. And let's see. And then just a little bit, so we lived off Green River for 18 years. And then 2003, we bought this ranch in Corona. It's a little less than 30 acres, and we started planting avocado trees and citrus trees, and then started selling those at the farmer's market to kind of help out with property taxes. And then about a year or so later, a gentleman put a note in our mailbox saying, hey, I got all these bees and you've got this land. Can we put the bees on your property? And my first reaction was, heck no. But my husband said, you know, they'd be great for pollinating the trees. So that was kind of our vision on that. And then before he left, Lonnie asked if we could taste the honey. And it was the black sage honey, which is absolutely phenomenal. And he said, you know what, we need to bottle that and share it with the community. So that's what we did. And it was supposed to be a hobby, and it's just really turned into this special little business. So it's really been a beautiful journey and an adventure. And one thing about living up on a ranch with 30 acres is it's peaceful, it's quiet, so it's really something special. But you don't have a neighbor next door that comes home from work and you can chit chat for 10-15 minutes. So going to the farmer's market has really been a gift, you know, for us to share the product. But for us, you know, we've just had tremendous friendships coming from that. And then I'll just share one more story. Okay, so like I said at the beginning, Lonnie was 17 when we met, and I was 20. And so the age difference never bothered me whatsoever. And then all of a sudden, I turned 60, and he's still in his 50s. And it's like, that kind of hurt a little bit. So I did find being a little depressed about that. And so one day, this older woman in a wheelchair couldn't come to the farmer's market anymore. So we said, oh, well, we'll just deliver it to you. So we delivered her some honey, or I did. I delivered her some honey, and she gave me this cute little pot holder that she had crocheted, and it was browns and grays. And I said, oh, that's so sweet, thank you. And she goes, you know, I made that for your father. And I said, oh, that's so sweet. I go, I love my father, but my dad died years ago. And she goes, well, who's that man you sell honey with? So anyway, that's a little bit about us, and I'll let Lonnie do the talking now.
Oh boy.
well, you can tell Mary's passion of our life. You have to have a partner that's going to support you, or it's a disaster. So I grew up one of nine, a family of nine in Orange. We were living on a half acre by the circle, and my dad worked, my mom didn't. She took care of the kids, so that was a job in itself. She was a nurse. All five of her siblings, her sisters, were nurses out of St. Joseph's. So when they met and 7 kids come along, Mom took care of us. So we lived on a half acre, and at 8 years old, we had been planting fruits, vegetables, everything we could to help supplement the food for the family. So I talked my mom at 8 into taking our little red wagon, and I could go around Orange to the older ladies in their 50s and sell tomatoes, peas, anything we had surplus of. And as an 8-year-old, we did not ever get allowance. So if I wanted a candy bar or wanted something, I had to find a bottle, and that's when a candy bar was a nickel. Licorice was a penny for almost foot-long licorice. So you'd find a bottle, say, get 3 cents, or a big bottle for a nickel, and then you could go to the store, the Southside Market right there on Glassell. So I went around and around Orange, meeting some of the neatest people, hearing their stories, and then I'd get to go back home and show Mom what I'd earned. And I earned enough at that one summer to buy another wagon with wooden sides so I could put more product in it and sell more. So that was me growing up, learning that people liked good quality products. And we also had an aunt and uncle in Hemet who had 300 acres on the Lips Ranch off Florida Avenue. So he was my favorite uncle. I would go out and visit with him. I'd work his ranch with him in the summers. I actually had left at 17 to go work there. I was out of Orange County. I wanted to be more in the countryside. And that's about a few weeks before that is when I met Mary. So that brought me back into Orange, back and forth, dating her. So it was my love of interacting with people, being able to sell something and see their joy in a good product. So as we went on and bought the ranch, my worry was I saw my uncle's ranch go from a flourishing business to bankruptcy, and a ranch is a money pit. And we are actually partners with my oldest and youngest sister, and they live in Northern California. So I had called them and said, can I borrow some money? We found a little piece of property here in Corona in 03, and we would like to purchase it, but I need to borrow some money from you guys. And they said, well, before we lend you money, we want to come see what you're doing. I said, absolutely. So they came out, looked the property over. It was homesteaded in 1885, actually before Corona was even incorporated, up at the south end of Corona there. And they looked at it and they said, we don't want to invest, we want to be partners, which is phenomenal because it's my oldest sister who's a workhorse, my youngest sister who's a workhorse. My oldest sister, Kathy, is an organizer, so it was perfect. So that was really special. It brought our family together. I did not want any of us to have a financial burden, so I tried to figure ways to earn some income to pay the taxes. And when I go down and buy 5,000 feet of pipe, it's like, oh my gosh, it's quite an endeavor to operate a ranch on a budget. So in memory of my uncle, Al and Katie, we planted some citrus. He was one of the top citrus and avocado grafters in the world. So I would tie behind him as a kid, all through Fallbrook, Corona. He did Irvine Company, Mentone, all these areas. So we planted 100 trees, and as nature has it, when they start producing, you have a lot of products. And it's like, oh my gosh, I go, we got to do something with this stuff. So reluctantly, I went to the farmer's market across from Firestone, where the old theater was, and approached the manager and wanted to sell our product. And I say reluctantly because I don't want to be thought as a failure. and I didn't think people would buy our product. So it's kind of like, what do you do? So people bought them, they loved the products. As Mary said, we got a business card in our mailbox asking about putting some bees up on our ranch. We are ag, so I said, yeah, I think it will help the trees tremendously. And we did, literally took a honeycomb, like the one that's sitting here, stuck it up in the window, let it warm a bit, took a fork, which now we use a decapper, and broke it open, and we tasted that black sage honey, and we looked both, I remember just distinctly, I can picture it, looking at each other and said, are you kidding me? This is phenomenal honey. It's been to the White House twice. The executive chef at Glen Ivy took it, Bill Waveren, who's a Vietnam veteran, awesome guy. Came back, his dad wanted him to go into construction. He said, nope, I want to be a chef. I've seen enough of the tough stuff, I want to be a chef. So he ended up being a French trained chef. And he would take our honey to the White House twice. Our honey actually, this is one of the jars, was at Hickory Farms. First honey on the West Coast in the United States came from Corona honey. It's phenomenal. They're based out of Canada, so they couldn't bring their Canadian honey in. So they contacted us and heard our story, and they fell in love with it. And when they tasted it, we shipped them some, they were hooked. So it's been very, very interesting life for us. Like Mary said, it started out as a hobby to pay the taxes, and then it just kept snowballing. And we turned down multiple markets. We just want to sell mainly local. Glen Ivy carries our products. They carry our skincare line. They have for over 15 years. Mary would call from work as I'm being the mad scientist, and that's what she would call me. What's the mad scientist doing in the kitchen? Because I'm developing all these products. I never dreamed I would take our beeswax and make it into products. Our daughter Teresa was a business major out of UCR, and so much of our products, our packaging and things are her ideas. She just calls up out of the blue from Scottsdale and says, what are you going to do with your wax, Dad? I got blocks of it. So she sent me recipes, and I modified it for a year. Mary would be the tester, and then finally we came up with it. When Ivy tried our skincare line, couldn't believe how well it worked. We've used it forever. Our whole families use it. The awards, we swept every award at the OC Fair with it. Here again, reluctantly, being one of 7, I had 4 older sisters, 3 older sisters that were phenomenal at modern day. They could beat you, even as a boy, they could beat you in any sport. And so I was always competing and wanting to do okay. So I, here again, didn't want to enter our products, but when I did, we swept everything. First place, second place, third place, division wins. And it's the wax. Beeswax is antibacterial, antifungal, antimicrobial, just like the honey. It's been really incredible for us. When we moved on the ranch, I found beekeeping supplies, and I'm going, okay, what are these there? This was in 03. I retired in 08. I had told Mary when we were dating that I want to retire at 40. She told her parents that, and they said, get rid of this guy, there's something wrong with him. Yes, I'm retired, but I'm busier now than when I worked a full-time job at a print shop in Anaheim. I was a mechanic. I worked electrical, mechanical, hydraulics, everything that was necessary. Mary and I did not go to college, so we insisted that our children go to college and use their brains. And our daughter, of course, through UCR and all her ideas, she's super smart. Our son, multiple degrees, masters out of USC, all kinds of different accolades. He's just a super, super smart kid. And when he sat us down and said he wants to go save souls, it was very humbling. To give all that up as a single kid, making that kind of money that we'd never seen before in our life, and he wanted to just be a humble person. So it's been quite an experience for us, on the mountain, developing products, trying not to let it take us over because we are retired. But a ranch takes a lot of work, a lot of labor, a lot of love, because if it wasn't for Mary, it would be a disaster. Just trying to coordinate things and getting things ready and ready for the next market, and it's supporting each other, but it's fun. And I totally know it's a God's gift that we got the ranch. We're the second owner since the 1880s. And when we talked with the lady, I was off work then. I've had 3 back surgeries, so I knew that we had to proceed and get a future for us. So we saved from the day one. When I was 18, I bought a piece of property. My parents were furious. I said, no, we can use it as rental. I'll live in it. I don't want to pay rent. But they understood afterwards that rental property is what helped us tremendously achieve our retirement early. Because I retired in 08, and that's when everything crashed, but it didn't matter. Mary and I were super frugal. We lived off the ranch. Life was good, so we weren't too worried about finances. God provided for us. The lady told us no matter what we were going to offer for the ranch, we got it. Because we weren't going to develop it. We couldn't afford to develop it. She wanted it kept in the form that it's been in her family for years. So it's been quite an experience. Honey is phenomenal. It's, like I said, antibacterial, antifungal, antimicrobial. It's the only food in the world that won't spoil. Honey on a wound makes hydrogen peroxide, a mild form of peroxide. They used it years ago in bandages, the medical industry, the military. The Romans, when they were trying to conquer the world, would carry pollen patties. You can live on that. I mean, the bees do. So it's really pretty fascinating. We also love working with the community. The Corona, was it TAC? Teenage, something. The TAC, the TAC, with the City of Corona Advisory Commission. Council. So they came up and we did a little tour, and they made us little bees. Olive Branch School. We love going there. They make us little stuff. We do every year. We do. Deborah has us over, and we do a little talk about the bees. So, and then of course hear all the stories about the little kids now going back home and playing with the bees and getting stung. And like our granddaughter Kayla, we call her Kayla Bee in Newport. She's out playing and petting the bees that are on the clover, and she's telling all of her friends they're grandpa's bees, so they won't hurt us. So she hasn't been stung, so that's pretty special. I had all kinds of notes, but I'm not real good at just reading down off things. But there are some things I just wanted to go over. A piece of history. To me, growing up in Orange, we lived in a 1917 house on a half acre. My parents were befriended some of the very wealthy people, and we were not wealthy. Dad was just an honest, good person. The Bixby Knowles, the Bryants. We ran all over their properties as kids. It was 10, 12,000 acre ranches. My uncle knew the Boheims, who owned 4 acres in Irvine in the 50s and 60s, and they had 10 to 15,000 acres in Colorado. So we would go, my uncle and I would travel to Colorado. And so history to me is really important. And to be on a little bit of land, I'm used to it, I love it. It's a lot of fun. We've even seen a lot of the families that we've sold products to. Their kids now, like yesterday we dropped at McDonald's on the way to our Bible study. A lady called, it's the Green Mamas. We met her in like 2010. Well, her son is now 17, and he was just a little kid when I met him. And so we've been able to see families, and they've used our products. They've taken them off of some of the meds and the allergy medicines and stuff. And we aren't doctors, but the testimonials we've gotten from people with the skincare products, with the honey. One quick story is I'm at my side of Mary usually does the honey, and I'll do the skincare side at the market, and a lady walks up with her daughter, and she's walking with her head down. I'm going, oh no, what's in? And so she looks up and she's super tan skin, but a big white blotch. I'm going, oh my gosh, what can we help you with? And she said, my daughter, do you have something to help my daughter's skin? And so we gave her a skin rescue. I said, try this, take it home, try it. I said, we aren't doctors, but just try it. So 2-3 weeks later, a young girl comes running up to the table, remember me? And I go, no, sorry, I don't. And then I look back and see her mom. And I put 2 and 2 together. The girl was smiling, face up, just, her mom was in tears. And some of the moms that come to the market and say, my teenage daughter, who we barely communicate with, said, Mom, when you go, get me some more of that skin stuff that you get at the Corona market. So she goes, thank you for having something that helps our daughter with her skin issues and our soap. So yeah, allergies. So it's really been humbling for us to do this. And we kind of take some of the blame for COVID happening, because right before COVID hit, we were going to stop. We said, you know what, I think we're going to stop. And so we moved to Arizona. So we went to Arizona, looked at some property, and we're really excited. And the partners were excited. They said, let's just, end it. We got home. That week is when COVID crashed in hard. And so we think that God just said, you know what, no, you need to stay. And keep working. Our sage, during COVID, we sold cases and cases. I took about 6 jars to a lady in Riverside, hadn't been out of her house in a year. She was in her 80s, and I was almost in tears, because she says, I haven't been out. People bring stuff and drop it off, and she wouldn't get close to me. And I said, that's not a problem. We set it on the edge of her. She had like a half acre up in the hills there. And I said, here it is. Send us a check when you can. It's just, this helped the COVID cough incredibly. We were afraid when COVID hit that we were going to stop our sales, and our sales went up 30-40%, because people were trying, instead of the cough medicines, they were using real healthy products. And there's studies out there, since honey is antibacterial, and all of that, and it makes the hydrogen peroxide. So when it goes into your body, it's like Mary always says, it's cleansing from the inside out. So it's pretty neat, our little journey. And even when we were driving up here, Mary and I looked at each other, and I said, I don't think of this as a job. Yes, we retired and enjoying life, but this is what we're meant to do right now. And it's to be there for the community and people, and we have people with cancer that use our products before surgery, after surgery, on the wound, on the cuts, and it's just really been humbling for us to be a part of this. Do you have any thoughts? I don't know where we're on time. Is there some questions or?
Yeah, we're ahead of schedule, but it's fine. We can open it up for Q&A if anybody has any questions. Yeah.
Lonnie.
Yes, sir.
Lonnie, with your siblings, what number are you?
I'm number 5.
Number 5.
Okay, thank you. I was the black sheep of the family.
Gracie's 3 of 11.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow. Lord, that's awesome.
Yeah, we all have numbers. We don't have names.
Yeah. Mom would start from the top and work down.
I have a really cool story. So I give away the honeys in the little bee packs to clients, and I put a little thing in there. And my husband and I went and met a client. It's kind of a long story, sorry. We met a client, and they're from Korea, and I presented him with the honey, and the looks on the family's faces when I presented him with the honey, I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? What is honey bad in this culture? I didn't know. And they said, you have no idea what honey means to this man, the dad of the family. He puts honey on eggs, pizza, chips. He puts honey on everything. So, I mean, needless to say, this family was hooked, like they are our clients for life. So, unfortunately, the dad passed away. first thing in my mind is I'm taking honey to the funeral. And again, I don't know their customs, so I don't know what I can present. Sure enough, when I walked up with the honey, we were able to put it right on with the flower on his casket. So he is now buried with your honey.
Oh, that's it. Right, dig. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, that's,
The family was just so happy.
I want to learn more about that product she mentioned for the anti-mosquito.
Oh, yes.
it's incredible. Well, we had one instance where a gentleman, we were just started the market in Corona there, across from Firestone, and a Spanish gentleman walked by opposite. And I try and interact with people just because I want to sell my product. First, honestly, it was to sell my product. We would decorate the bears. My sisters would make Lady Gaga bears, or Bandito bears, pirate bears. And because if you get the children interested and they walk up, then the parents come with them. And once they tested it, and you're welcome, we brought samples, you can test it. Once the child tastes it, they're hooked. And it's not for their detriment, it's for their benefit. You can use honey, is so medicinal, and yet it's supernatural. So this gentleman finally walked over, and I gave him a taste of the sage, and he started crying. I'm going, holy smoke. And he said, my father was a beekeeper, my grandfather was a beekeeper in South America. He goes, this took me right back home. And it's like, done deal. And that's why we do it. It's not for the money. It isn't. It's for the reactions we get from people.
And a little bit about the skin rescue. So the skin rescue has the most, because you were asking about for the mosquitoes, the skin rescue has the most beeswax. And the beeswax is what's healing. It adheres to your skin, it lets it breathe, and then it lets the healing process. So we do have the skin rescue, so that's really good for tough spots and mosquito bites. And then COVID hit. People love the skin rescue so much, but it's thick. It is a balm. So it's hard to spread all over your body. And then COVID hit, and they wanted something more like a moisturizer. So then we did develop the Skin Soft that's a little softer and has a little less beeswax. But that still is good for mosquito bites too. So
I just wish it was like a liquid that you could just start like here, and it would just coat your whole and everything. And then you're like, and I feel sexy again, and no bees or no mosquitoes can get me. And I'm like, oh, this is good. This is right.
That's hysterical.
It's the best.
Well,
It's so
thank
good.
you. Thank you.
One last question, really quick. I'm going to go back in time. So when your neighbors asked, when you guys bought the property, you guys didn't really have the thought of beekeeping, correct? It was just planting the citrus trees, right?
Just in my uncle's.
So when he brought to the idea of, hey, can we transfer the bees over to the property? How? And then you guys said, okay. Where did you guys learn the process to extract the honey, and where did this all come from? How did you learn?
First of all, he bought Beekeeper, what is it?
Beekeepers for Dummies.
Beekeepers for Dummies. That was the first thing he bought, and then it kind of went on from there.
And Mary came home from work at Auto Club as a supervisor with just an incredibly tough day. And she just sits down and the book's there and she flips it open and first thing she
And
sees.
he's retired at this
I'm
point.
retired.
I'm working, he's retired.
And she sees the comments, all worker bees are female. Which is true. The drones mate and eat, and that's all they do. They also have to be fed like the queen. This is the queen cage. So the queen is kept inside, and with a little piece of candy, the bees on the outside want to get to her. They want to kill her. Her pheromones don't match with the hive. And the worker bees inside are feeding her because she cannot feed herself. And then after a week to 10 days, they get used to the pheromone of her, and then hopefully 95% of the time she comes out and lays 2,000 to 3,000 eggs a day.
Wow.
So it's been a work in progress. I learned from a beekeeper who still calls me and asks questions. There's so many different things happening in the world now with the bees and stuff we see that happen with the drought. I am a novice at it, even though it's been 15 years since we've been doing this, at least. He's been doing it 50, 60 years, and he is confused with bugs that come from other countries, that are bees. Well, look at the murder hornet. It's a perfect example. There's the hive beetle. It goes on and on. And we just have a blast with it. It's a lot of learn by doing, learn by getting stung. YouTube, I looked at YouTube, some of it, and we've got wild bees on the ranch. You know, people think that there's only bees in the bee boxes. We have more bees in the foothills of Corona than you can imagine, and they're in the ground, in trees, everywhere. So.
Awesome. Grace, you have a question?
Yeah. And I was going to say, we do also work with a beekeeper too, who has a lot of bees, and he'll bring them in on the property and everything. Lonnie works with him, he has some of his bees, but we do the extracting and the bottling.
I've heard one of the best things you can do for allergies is to eat local honey, because it helps with fight off the allergens. How local does it have to be? Is Orange County close enough, or do you need Orange County honey?
You know, this is how I feel. The orange tree, the mother tree that's in Riverside, and it's the mother tree for all of your citrus and your Valencia oranges. That flower is the same flower that's in Orange County and the same one here in Riverside. Where it changes is, like, we do a buckwheat honey. The darker one is a buckwheat honey. A bee can sense, I think it's over 200 flowers. So in a store, you could have rows and rows and rows of honey if you could isolate the bees to stay to that flower. Now, you can't. So some of the honeys change colors, different season. Orange blooms first, sage, and then buckwheat. So, but we're small enough that we pull the honey when we see the flowers die. And what's cool about us, being on the national forest, our back fence line is the national forest. The bees work the forestry. If they come into the city and down into the valleys and out where they've sprayed for Zika or the viruses and stuff they sprayed for, it goes into the honey. And that's why we're so blessed. We've won so many awards with our honey that it's phenomenal. So to get back to your question, like the buckwheat's a perfect example. It's not the buckwheat that they make pancakes out of. That's a different flower. Ours is a wildflower that grows from Mexico to Oregon. That's why so many of the South America people, or from Mexico, they have sage and buckwheat also. And when they taste it, it takes them I can't count how many times the people they missed up, because it took me back home. So they say it's like a 200-mile range, or there's some terminology for it, but the way I look at it too, real honey, because honey is one of the most faked foods that's out there. It's easy to buy corn syrup and mix it with your honey. I've heard stories of people just taking the water hose and pouring it in. If you put 10% in a 55-gallon drum, that's 5 gallons, 5.5 gallons. You may not taste it, the difference, but you just made 5.5 gallons of honeys, and that's a lot. And it's just deceitful. But I lost my train of thought on that. But,
local honey.
Yeah, the local honey
You're
is.
saying allergies.
Yeah, allergies. Honey gives you energy. I always think of it as if you just sit on the couch and eat a little bit of honey, you're not going to be cured, or it gives you energy, you get out more, you're more active, it's good for your immune system, it's antibacterial, brain function, especially sage. Sage in Latin is the healing plant. It is phenomenal. And when our sage is blooming, higher on the Cleveland forest is the Indian ceremonial sage, which is phenomenal also. For spiritually and medicinally. So it just gives you a rush. Our grandson used it all through college. He played in the NFL. He's still playing in the NFL. Every morning it goes in his oatmeal. We have different professional players that have used our honey throughout the years too. So it's pretty cool.
I've been a chef for 30 years, and when we met at that chamber meeting, I was telling you about my daughter. And so I was from Oregon for 20 years, so I raised 2 of my littles. They were born in Oregon, and I had a third, obviously a teenager with me there too. and my daughter was like a tomboy, and she would get into all the poison oak. And one of the wineries that I chefed for, they had bees also. You know, they're on, 500 acres or something like that, 1,000 acres. And they would give me their honey, and it was pitch black.
Yes.
And it was the poison oak honey.
Yeah.
And so my daughter would get mixed up with this, and the more and the more and the more that she would get mixed up and tangled in, I'd go, God, just stay away from it. Like, don't go into the brush. Well, that's not my girl. She's in the brush girl. So I would take her to the she was hospitalized, like, a lot of times. And they said, stop or she's going to die. We had to carry EpiPens. I started giving her that twice a day, a tablespoon every day. And she does not get hospitalized. She still gets after it.
Poison oak is nasty.
But now she just itches.
Yes.
Now she's like a normal human.
Now the skin rescue. We have a lot of poison oak up on the ranch.
Yeah.
And I would use the Technu and all this stuff from Thrifty and stuff, and it didn't work. Oh, it was terrible. I had no clue about poison oak until I went through a whole patch of it. And the great-great-grandson's up there saying, you know what you're in? I said, I don't have a clue. Well, you'll find out. And I was head to toe. It was a mess. But using my skin rescue, after I would use water, vinegar, and baking soda to neutralize the oils and clean it off, then I put the skin rescue on, it's just gone. That's what, even the other day, we're driving home from somewhere, and she goes, look, I got 5 or 6 mosquito bites. So she pulled out the skin rescue by Lonnie and put little dabs on it. The itch was gone immediately, and she didn't scratch it anymore. And then the minute you start scratching something, then it opens up, and then it's a whole disaster. So the beeswax is a sealer. That's why our great-grandparents and grandparents used it as a sealing wax on jars before they had these type of lids. So, yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes. So I wanted to, I have eczema.
Yes.
Right? So when I had my big flares, and I'm talking big, just come from my whole body, I would always take honey, hot water. It would be honey tea.
Absolutely.
I would drink it every night, maybe a couple hours before I go to sleep. It helped, kind of temper down the histamines so much.
Yes.
So everything you're saying about honey, I believe it.
It's true. Yeah, it's phenomenal.
And I had another question, but I forgot.
No worries. You'll think of it.
I had it, but I'll
Rebecca.
Do you guys, if you get an infestation of bees at your house, like a swarm of bees, do you guys come and collect the bees?
Much to Mary's, she smiles. I used to, but it got to be, out of all the ones that I would take, we had one that would stay. Many times bees, when they're moving, there's a reason. And I know in Norco, I went and helped a gentleman. I came in and they were on the floor of his paddock. And bees they look like someone poured, because it's all moving, and there was something wrong with them. But I collected them, took them, and they all died. So I have to be careful that I don't contaminate my hives. There is a gentleman in Riverside who we now send everyone to, and it's Bob's Swarm and Bee Rescue. Bob is a phenomenal guy. He saves them. He has an area that he puts them in boxes and medicates them if they need to, whatever's needed. But Bob is a super, super guy, and we send all our work to him. It just gets, being super frugal, everyone charges, and I wouldn't charge. And after you're spending 4 to 6 hours, I drive my truck at now it's $6 a gallon plus for the diesel. It just isn't, for us, it's not, it's just not going to work. So we just have the professionals do it, put it that way. But when they swarm on the ranch, because if I'm out on the ranch and I see a swarm go over me, I'll follow it. Because if it goes in a tree, I grab it, put it in a box, and I've got multiple boxes all over the ranch. And the honey's super wild and super good.
Yes. What are some of your favorite ways and most unusual ways of eating the honey?
Well,
Yes.
my favorite, well, my favorite way actually is I love the black sage. That's our personal favorite. It's smooth, delicate, but just full of flavor, like beautiful honey butter. But my favorite way is just on a spoon and just eat it. And then especially if I have a sore throat, let it coat my throat. But, traditionally, with the teas, great sweetener. Oh, yeah, that was, a customer shared that with us. for her kids. She would get a banana and put peanut butter on it and then drizzle it with honey. It tasted just like a banana cream pie. It was phenomenal. Really
So I
phenomenal.
took your sage honey and I grilled peaches.
Ooh.
I put a dollop of mascarpone cheese, a little bit of fresh thyme, and then I drizzled it with your honey.
With the
And it was
cheese,
amazing.
The honey accents, cook with it, we've done fish with it, and sage is the lowest in natural sugars. So the sage plant, here again, the bees, you can't control where the bees go, because remember, they are female. So the bees go, yeah. No hate mail, please. They work themselves to death, literally. So you can't control where the bee goes. So if it goes in an orange plant or something, lavender or something, you're going to get some crystallization. But we've had years in 2019, our super bloom year. Oh my gosh, we've got honey that is just, you can see through it. And we were fortunate enough, that's when Hickory Farms wanted honey, so we supplied that. So I have honey up there that is completely uncrystallized. And yet orange, clover, which when the bees are in the Dakotas, it crystallizes quick. So if your honey's crystallized, it's not a bad thing. You can put it on the windowsill, especially if it's from us. From a store, you never know where it's come from. And even though it may say local, you have to talk to the beekeeper and see. We had a gentleman, a friend of mine, said, "Oh, you know Lonnie and Mary?" And he goes, yeah, I know them. He goes, "We don't like them." And he goes, "Well, why?" He goes, "Because their honey's too good." And he said, "Well, where do you get your honey?" He goes, "Well, I just go to a big old warehouse, load up my truck and go sell it." And so, and not that honey may be not real, but you need to know the beekeeper and to be able to come to their property, see what it looks like, see what they're doing. And we are a certified California farmer. So the ag department, they come out and inspect us annually. And at the last market, they came by and inspected our permit and see what we have. And so it's important because there's just, when it comes down to it's all about money, then all bets are off. And that can be really bad for stuff that you're eating in your foods. Yes?
You give out tours?
We do. We limit it during the summer because the rattlesnakes and like we always laugh because like this morning the quail jumped up on the deck and they look in the house and they're pecking at the window. They want to be fed, visit with us. But we have everything in California except for bear. So my wife's been very close to the mountain lions. We have animals up, bobcats, foxes. Yeah, it's pretty special property. But we do tours. We just have to limit how we do it, and because it is a working ranch. I mean, you can definitely. But yeah.
So just give us a call, text us, and we'll set up a time.
Yeah, awesome.
One more question? Buzz, did you have a question? No? Oh.
So you guys are at the farmer's market?
Yeah, it's only on Saturday. I get there about 7-ish, and then we're supposed to be packing up at 12:30 to 1. We did, years back, did a Hollywood market, the East Hollywood Farmers Market. Mary and I were sitting there going, well, you know, we're kind of, life's good. I want a tractor because I'm tired of digging with my back surgeries. And, well, if we earn a little bit more money, we can maybe get a tractor. So we said, what day? So we talked about it, and came up with Thursday. We picked a day, Thursday. Well, 2 days later, a gentleman calls. 2 weeks later.
Totally ignored it. We talked about it, but didn't act on it.
A gentleman calls and says, Thai community in East Hollywood would like us, they've heard about us, would like us to come there. I go, oh, well, I don't know, it's a long ways. What day? Thursday. Okay, well, I think God's telling us we need to go to East Hollywood, out of our comfort zone by a mile. But we did 4 years there. And then it was circumstances that happened there, it was just time to stop. And thank God we did, because things kind of fell apart in that area. And,
did you get your tractor?
We did.
Get his
I did.
tractor.
Yeah, my tractor.
And I was going to say, so we are at the Corona Farmers Market every Saturday morning. It's the corner is 6 and Main, and it technically opens at 8 in the morning, and we have to start packing up at 12:30.
And Be Well Pharmacy at Foothill and the 15, they carry some of our products. So they hesitated, but they kindly, the mom and the daughter, I forget, I think the mom's the pharmacist, the daughter may be also, but please help support them. Glen Ivy Hot Springs, our skincare lines there, and our honey in real fancy jars. They wanted fancy jars, so we got them some. Winchester Farms on Winchester Road. Jennifer has carried our products for about 10 years. And super lady, and the prices are fairly reasonable. I keep telling her, we haven't raised our prices. I think first of next year we're going to have to. Jars have gone just crazy. My truck's $250 to fill up, and the tractor's $300 to fill up. I mean, or more. So we're going to have to do something. But Winchester Farms is phenomenal. Who else carries?
Beehive Deli in Whittier.
Beehive Deli in Whittier. He's a pharmacist who has a deli next door for health foods. They tested our honey. When we were going to East Hollywood, we would drop the products off. It was kind of nice. He loved our products. He does a lot of work with our beeswax too. And if you want to look at some of the goodies up here, this is actually a queen cell here, a natural one that they made. And when we do our tour, we talk about some of the stuff. We found old tools.
Show them that other queen cell when you need to change the.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did
Yeah,
already.
the queen cage. So, but yeah, even on this one here, you'll find queen cells. So that comb, now it's been to about 10 or 15 schools, and the kids have pushed it and poked it. So a normal cell is this big. The queen cell is huge because she's a lot bigger than the standard honeybee. She's fed royal jelly her whole life, and so her size is bigger, and she also makes her fertile. Where the other girl bees, the female bees, are sterile. So
She's a bossy.
she's the boss. She's the queen bee. And only one queen in the hive. So all those other 6 or 7 queen cages or cells, whoever hatches out first, then goes and kills the other queens. Because there's only one queen in the box. It can't work any other way. So.
Let's give a round of applause. Just want to thank both of you for being here, and you can just tell the love and passion that you guys have for your family, for each other, is spilling over into your business here with the honey. And thank you so much for being here. And I'm so glad you guys stayed here and didn't move to Arizona.
Yeah.
You're still part of our community here
We
in
had someone
Corona.
come up crying to the counter. They had heard and she was crying. I'm going, what's wrong? What's wrong? Tell us it's not true. What? You're leaving? I said, no. Someone overheard when we were talking, and this has changed our life. It really has.
And you're changing lives of others with just educating them on the benefits of honey as well.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you. Absolutely. My pleasure. I'd like to bring up Paul Bender-Badesha. She's going to present you, both of you, with a challenge coin. She is our current chairman of the board for the Corona Chamber.
Thank you. Thank you so much for an inspirational talk. You use the word humble a lot, but you are both the epitome of humbleness. You're kind of reluctant entrepreneurs, right? Because you really do this for good. Yes. Yeah, and my son has huge allergies to pollen, and for years, since he was a toddler, I've been coming to your store, and we never let the honey run out. It really helps, and thank you for being great custodians of the earth, which is what you do. Thank you. Yeah, and building a stronger community. Absolutely, and you create lots of jobs for bees, so we're really creating jobs and building a stronger community. Appreciate you. Yes.
Again, thank you all for coming. Just remember the individuals that introduce themselves, network a little bit after, and also please come and visit or look at all. Oh, they have goodies here too.
Yeah.
That is so kind.
Look on